Hey guys, welcome back to 7Sixteen.
Welcome back to 7.
We are happy to be here, and
Yes.
and you know what? It is a great time of year because the weather is getting colder.
Wait, you can't go that. That's part of my thankful thing.
Oh my God. Well, anyway, if this is your first time here, if this is your first time here, guys, we are 716.
Yes.
We like to talk about controversial topics. We'll get into marital advice. We'll get into boyfriend-girlfriend advice, or the new term, exclusive advice.
Is that what it's called?
Being exclusive. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, oh, you're my girlfriend. No, you're my boyfriend. We're not in high school anymore, babe. So it's like I'm being exclusive to you.
Oh.
So yeah. So we always go into advice and everything here. We like to back it up with the Bible. We like to, this is a Christian podcast at the end of the day.
Yes.
And we do not want to stray from that. Mm-hmm. Any advice we give you is going to be biblical or backed up by our faith.
Yeah, and a lot of it is also us just sharing our personal experiences. We've said this time and time again, but we just feel like sometimes churches or just people of the faith don't really talk about certain things. So that's kind of like the thing that we're trying to break. And and then I'll just kind of help you guys on what God would expect from us.
Yeah.
And yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. But if you're new here, guys, we have a long list of podcasts if you want to jump into any of those. But, today we're going to talk about a specific topic that comes with our season. But before we do that,
oh, yes.
Before we do that, we always have, we have to keep ourselves we have to keep ourselves in our timeline, right? So what you're thankful for. And since you already claimed onto the dibs of this weather, go ahead and say what you
okay, because as you can see, I'm wearing a nice loose oversized type of sweater, and I love fall. So if there's two things that I'm grateful for. So the first one is the weather, because this weather is amazing. I mean, he knows that I love the fall time. I love that cool, crisp type of weather. I'm not a really hot, summery type of person. And I just love the fashion, the boots, the scarves, all of that. So yeah, and I know I'm not the only one. I see with y'all pumpkin spice and all of that.
I mean, hey, I'm a person that thrives in the summer. But I do like when I get to put my flannels on.
Yeah, you see, babe, you look real cute today,
When I get to put my boots on and stuff.
Yeah.
These are new, by the way. My wifey got me them.
Mm-hmm,
my lovely, beautiful wife.
I'm like, babe, what do you need for fall? Because I'm about to get in that fall shopping frenzy. And he was like, I want black boots. So.
Yeah, I want all black boots. Well, I got them. Yep.
So, real quick, my second thing.
Oh, you have a second thing. So you think you're some kind of hotshot? You can have two.
Well, God has done a lot, so I got a lot to be thankful for. Tu sabes. But that was more surface level. Actually, another thing, and a main thing that I'm really grateful is, again, just being thankful for the season, but not just in the, I guess, calendar temperature year, more of season in my life. I just feel like my relationship with God has been getting just so much more intimate and so closer. And I just feel like I get to hear him more, and I hear more clarity on things that he wants for me. And I feel like I didn't have that for a long time,
Yeah.
So being in this season, I'm just all like, wow, this is amazing. I get to hear God all the time, and I'm just all like, why didn't I do this when I was younger, And so this is just something that I'm just so grateful is for God's love and presence, and just, being sensible to his hearing is just really awesome. Yeah. So something I'm really grateful for.
Well, that's somewhat similar. Well, no, it kind of touches on what you're saying as far as what I'm thankful for. But what I'm thankful for, and we didn't speak about this, but I'm thankful for you. Obviously, for obvious reasons, I'm thankful for you, because as my wife, you fulfill a lot of wifely duties, but more than that, recently, what a lot of people don't know is, because I didn't really speak about it, was that I was recently offered a job, and a job that would have paid me close to 3 times the amount that I already make, plus benefits, vacations, all that stuff. And it also has to do with something that I'm very familiar with and know how to do. these people knew me for that.
Yeah.
So that's why they reached out to me for that position, because it opened up. But then then I started thinking, I'm like, okay, so
like, this
I would
sounds
get
great.
this. It sounds great.
Yeah.
You know, we get the insurance and stuff like that, because who doesn't want state health insurance, you know?
Like that really high health insurance,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about?
And all that would have been great, but I would have gone back to working anywhere between 8 to 13 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know, where
like a 60
and I only
hour
say
week.
8, and I only say 8 because, you know, 8 is technically the cap, but realistically you're there for 11 to 13 hours in a day.
Yeah.
You know, it's Monday through Friday, and, you know, you're thinking about this throughout the weekend, and then you start up again. It's the type of thing where if you blink on Friday, it's already Monday.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, and all that was great. All the benefits were great, but then I'd be busy. And it's crazy because you said something on the podcast before I got the offer. You were like, if the devil can't make you bad, he'll make you busy.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, you know, like, dag, like, I would not be able to do the podcast. I would not be able to have the other 2 side businesses that I have. Yeah. I would not be able to do anything that involves, like, us interacting throughout the day the way we do. Yeah. Everything else in church, I would have to fall back away from because I'd be so busy. Yeah. Plus, I'd be too stressed to even try to think about doing things like a podcast or doing things like leadership in church if I wanted to, or whatever the case may be, right?
Even your attendance during the week, because I remember early on when we first got married, you had a job very similar, and you were just dead. Yeah. You were like, and you were like a walking robot.
Yeah, it was. You know? I was just getting home and eating and going to sleep to wake up to do the same thing all over again.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people understand that. There are a lot of people are in corporate positions, and if anybody's watching this, you know, I'm not shaming you for it. If you can handle it, you can. But I have a lot of stuff going on right now, and I would not be able to do it. I mean, if you can think about it, you know, the hours that you spent and then try to manage a podcast, try to manage other businesses, try to manage other things in your household, you wouldn't be able to because your life is already consumed enough.
And you know what's crazy? Like, because we record this podcast based off of our experiences for everyone else. But, you know, at least that podcast, you were the one editing. And little did you know that, like, past us was actually talking to future us.
Exactly.
So it's so crazy how that works. Yeah. But just how God works in general, you know? Because I was just saying, like, we have a God of time that it doesn't make sense to us, but he is aware and very intentional with things that happen to us. And, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah. But, you know, going back to the whole thankful part, the reason why I'm mentioning you is because I was going to do it. You know, I'm thinking to myself, you know, I could probably use this money. You know, it'd be a great way to provide even more. And, you know, it was Adrian who stopped me. She's noticed that I started thinking about the time that I had to put into it. She noticed the stress that I was already building up. And I'm grateful that I have a wife that doesn't think about the monetary. I'm grateful that I have a wife that thinks about my well-being and my future. I'm grateful to have a wife that thinks about, you know, whether or not I'll be able to do things, rather than saying, oh, well, now he's going to start making bank and I can probably start buying myself a lot more. We can go on vacation now or this and that, you know, because I know that there are other partners that think that way, whether it's a man or a woman, think, oh, well, you're about to start bringing a lot more money and we could probably get a new car now, or we can probably buy, you know, like a bigger house or whatever the case may be, right?
You know what it is, though? It's just, I know your patterns, and I know just naturally for any man, they're always like, hey, if I could bring more, why not? You know, because it's just like,
it's a natural instinct of us to
your DNA
to provide,
to like extra provide. But the way I see it, it's like, what is the whole point of gaining the whole world and losing your soul?
Yes.
You know, because if you were to accept this, then yeah, your attendance even at church.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah. For sure.
It would just diminish.
For sure. It would probably go down to like one time a day.
Yeah.
One time a week, I mean.
Yeah. And you know, just like that, like God just has such bigger things that he wants to you. And sometimes, like, you know, the devil will like to throw nice, shiny things in your face, but that doesn't mean it's for you.
Yeah. And not everything, you know, that's nice and shiny or what looks like a blessing it's doesn't mean it actually is. Sometimes these are just distractions, and we have to be careful. We have to be able to use our discernment to understand, you know, that this is the wrong thing to do, the wrong move to make. Yeah. And plus, you know, anxiety is not of God.
Yeah.
Stress is not of God.
Yep.
And we have to understand and recognize those signs. You know, so that's what I'm grateful for, because you have lately become so connected that these signs come out to you in a better way, or a much clearer way, or a much more discerning way, I guess you could say. Yeah. You know, and I love that, because I'm not alone on making decisions. Yes, I am the head of the household, you know, because God made us that way. Mm-hmm. But man, when I say that I have a helper, I have a helper. So I'm grateful for you, baby.
Aw, thank you, baby. I love you. Listen, having just your life partner is like such a big thing in your life, and one of the reasons why we're doing this episode today, you know, because I just feel like we haven't really touched anything on the relationship aspect, you know? So
well, it's been a while.
It has been a while. Yeah.
But before we go into that,
I know. I was about to forget.
Yeah. We always also, you know, for those of you who are new, we do a mug shot of the day.
Yes.
And the reason why is because we love collecting mugs, but we never really had a way of showing it. So here we are. Now we're showing them.
We love mugs. We have a coffee lover here. So we just have a bunch of them, and we're like, we should incorporate these in our episodes.
Yeah, for sure.
But I have one here that says, "Hello, happiness," because, you know, the joy of the Lord. No, I'm kidding.
What do you mean? No, you're kidding.
No. As in, like, okay, I'm not trying to make it sound like this, but you know how there's all these like Christian memes of like people taking any little thing and making it overly spiritual for like everything.
Oh, yeah,
so that's what I meant.
That's what you meant by you're kidding.
Yeah. No, seriously, the joy of the Lord, it ain't no joke. It's for
Isn't there a song like that? Joy of the Lord, it's upon my heart.
Oh, no.
Or did I sing that wrong? Well, I sang that wrong.
I will dance like David.
Whatever.
Danced.
It's the same thing.
And it's pink,
tomato,
so
tomato.
You know.
Mine, I have shown this before, but I kind of was rushing over here and I forgot to bring my own mug.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm showing it for those who haven't seen it. Mine is the Michael Scott Paper Company when he made his own company.
Yep.
And his slogan was, "We guarantee you will be satisfied because your satisfaction is our guarantee. We guarantee it." So honestly, this is one of my favorite mugs. You know, it really is. Like, I love this, and plus my little alpaca mug that I always have here, and it's being covered by the sandbag right here.
Yeah, but you see, goes to show you, he forgot a mug, and we have a couple of mugs here at the studio.
Because we're overflowing at our cabinet.
Because we have a lot over there at our house, so we're like, we could leave a couple in here just in case.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But moving on, you know, we have something that we want to bring up with you guys, and it's appropriate to the season. Because
because what is this season called for?
It's
cuffing season.
And actually, you know, we didn't talk about that, but I actually have this written down. It is cuffing season. You know, it's starting to get colder. People want to snuggle up. People want to get under a little blanket, but don't do that alone because, man, you're looking for a sin. Anyway, but it's also engagement season.
Yeah, is it?
It's also engagement season, yes. During Thanksgiving, during Christmas, during New Year's. Every time it gets cold, people, for some reason, they want to, like,
use all
these holidays to, you know, propose. I know I did it. I did it on New Year's Eve.
You did it on New Year's Eve, yeah. I don't know. I guess it's a little different, like, because I do a lot of weddings, so I feel like I see engagements year round.
That's true. That's true. But it is very popular to do it around this time.
It is because, I don't know, I guess people just get in the field.
Yeah, my brother did it on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You know, he was talking.
We had a couple people from church also do it on New Year's Eve.
Yes. Yeah. I think it was 2 of them last year.
2 people. No, not like a couple years ago.
No, nothing happened last year? Oh, no, wait. We didn't have New Year's because.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, anyways.
But anyway, so I actually we want to do something, and we didn't discuss it in this way yet, but I think we should do kind of a 3-part series.
Yeah.
So this specific, I mean, you already clicked on the thumbnail, right? You already clicked on the title here, and it basically has to do with getting to that point or finding that someone.
Yeah.
Or how to find that someone, right? How to find that partner.
Yeah.
But then I want to actually do what it is to be dating, and then, you know, something in the marriage. Yeah. I don't want to go too much. I don't want to give too much, but it's kind of like that. Like I want to do a 3-part series in that, because we are in the season of getting ready for that, or falling in love for that, if you will. But with everything that goes on, you know, cuffing season, engagement, whatever the fact is, whatever it is, right? Yeah. The issue that comes up a lot with many people, because I've heard it from many people, you've heard it, and you also have your own experience, is that is that dating sucks.
Yeah, dating is just, I mean, listen, I feel like I sound like a broken record saying this, but I work in weddings, right? So I deal with a lot of bridesmaids, brides, and all of this. And man, do I hear a lot of like really crappy stories of like what it is to be in the dating world. This is whether you're Christian or not. Yeah. Like, it is just hard out there. Like, everyone's out playing each other out. Mm-hmm. Everyone's just, you know, out looking for their own, like, just being selfish, really. Yeah. And nobody really cares for commitment anymore. You have some that do, some that don't. The ones that don't want to be committed are getting with people who are willing to get committed. You know, people hear like divorce rate, like there's just so much, right? Yeah. That it discourages so many people. But then you have people that are genuinely looking for like their other half, you know, because just naturally, us being human, we crave for love. Mm-hmm. That's just what it is. I mean, man was not meant to be alone, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So God created someone for him, and that's just what it is. Like, we always have this longing feeling of wanting to find that other person, like who is the one, mm-hmm. right? And yeah, there's a lot that we can go in with dating sucks, but I don't know if you have something.
No. If anything, all right. So we had a moment. I mean, if you haven't seen this video, we had a moment where we weren't together, you know, and it was for a while that we weren't together. And you know, for good reasons, but I'm not going to go into that. You can see the video right over, you know, and I'll put it in the description or I'll put it in the info tab, right? But you've told me about, you know, your stories, and I wanted to know if you wanted to get into it, weird. Whether it's cringy or not, but hey, you know, it's just, people can relate.
It is, but it isn't. So here's the thing. When you're looking out for your other partner, there's just a lot of things that you need to figure out, right? You have a point where you need to find your own standards. Like, you need to find out what it is that you are seeking in another person. You need to make sure that you're also ready, because I feel like sometimes people will look for others to complete them. Mm-hmm. And that is like the wrong way of getting into a relationship. And then,
so you're saying Christians shouldn't be looking for a relationship, or shouldn't be looking for a partner to make them whole, in a sense?
Because what happens is that the person's gonna come, and a lot of times if you're looking to be whole, it's because you have an empty feeling of like, I don't feel loved, or I'm not happy. I'm just mm-hmm. not happy. But mm-hmm. I know if I find this guy who loves me and takes me out on dates, I'm gonna be happy. Mm. And then what happens is you bring out all this stress on this other person of trying to make you happy, and really that's not his responsibility. Like, yes, we complement, like, our time together makes, you know, happy moments. But if I'm not happy on my own, like, what makes you think, like, being in a relationship, that person's going to make me happy? That's a big responsibility on someone else to say, hey, you are the one responsible for my happiness. Yeah. You know? And so I don't think that's right. But
that's very toxic too.
It is very toxic.
Because it becomes such a pressure. And I know that a lot of relationships get into that clinginess. Yeah. You know, where a guy or a girl might feel suffocated by another person, and then that might be the downfall to the relationship.
So when me and Xavier broke up, you know, I definitely went through this phase of like, I want to date around and all of this. And let me just tell you, like, some people are just really weird. Some people don't have manners. Some people don't have like life goals. Like, there's just a lot of like different things out there. And some people say that they're Christian and then they're not Christian. And then you're just like,
they're like the 1 foot in, 1 foot out type thing.
They're, as we would say it in Spanish, no son cristianos, son
cristinos.
Yes. So it's like, you know, I feel like that term is just even so like loosely put out. It's crazy because I remember, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I had a friend, well, I have a friend who she was telling me, like, even online dating, like, how much it sucks. Mm-hmm. And she was saying how, like, oh, like, I tried going online dating and I have kids, and this person was like, this was a guy, he was all like, oh, well, no, I'm not interested in you because you're already like used, like you have no value and no worth. Like, can you imagine that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. I haven't been like dating in a while, clearly, because we've been married for a while, but I can only imagine like something like that would be so dismotivating and so like devastating to hear. Like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah. And I know that for guys, it's the same thing where it's like they'll go on a date, but even nowadays the girl wants to play around too.
Oh yeah, girls want free meals.
And I'm not talking, yeah, right? They go on dates to either, in the secular sense, they go on dates for a free drink or a free dinner, you know? And for Christians, it's the same thing. You know, they have no intention. They just want the experience.
Yeah, which is like...
And it's very... my God, man. Like, we're all playing this game now.
Yeah.
You know, back then you used to hear it more on the guys playing the games, but listen,
girls
I think it's an equal playing field at this point.
It definitely is, because I think enough girls have heard of like that whole stigma of like guys are the ones that are always playing out girls, that now many female are like, nope, now it's gonna be me.
Yeah, they're not falling back. They're not falling behind.
Yeah. So it's just like, oh man. But I mean, I think for sure when it comes to relationships, like before getting into a relationship, there's a lot of things, a lot of real conversations that you need to have with yourself, right? Like, one, am I ready to be in a relationship? Am I in the position to actually be a good girlfriend that can lead into being into a good wife? You know, and that's not saying that you need to be ready right away, but like we were saying before, if you're in a position in your life where you're just not happy, then I don't think it's the right time for you to be in a relationship, you know? Like, because a relationship isn't what's going to make you whole, you know?
Yeah, and relying on a person, like we said, is just not, it might give you that temporary, you know, that temporary void, right? It might fill it in.
Yeah.
But then eventually what it is that you filled it up with, you're going to get bored of that, right? You're going to get tired of it, and you're going to realize, wait a minute, I'm not as happy as I used to be. Maybe he's the problem, or maybe she's the problem.
Yeah.
You know? And then we'll start looking for excuses to get out of a relationship.
Yeah.
When really you shouldn't have been in a relationship to begin with.
Yeah. And so the other thing is also finding what your standards are. And I feel like because everyone's like finds it so crazy, like what the dating world is now, I feel like sometimes people tend to settle for their standards. But I think standards are important. You know, if you know that you want, you know, your husband to be a certain way or have a certain characteristic, I don't think there's anything wrong with having that as a set list. Like, hey, God, I want you to give me someone who's like this and who's like that.
So what would be an example of that?
So, okay, for example, like we went out when we were like 14, but let me tell you, I was not one to go like from relationship to relationship.
I mean, I can say the same thing.
And clearly why we like ended up being together, because so I remember my last relationship before I was with you, and people still took relationships serious even if you were like 12, 13, 14, like, cuz I don't know, I guess
I think back then
I think it was
more it was more on the you need to take it serious.
Yeah, I feel, because I'm trying to think about it now, and like a lot of people that I knew that were going out, even in like ending middle school or early high school. Yeah. Now
they were together for like about a year or two.
It sounds silly, but I'm here like, wow, they actually took it like pretty serious. So I was with this person, and you know, obviously the interest just wasn't there. We ended up breaking up. And I remember just the feeling of like being alone was like what was making me sad. And then I just remember crying. And I remember at that moment making a prayer of like, God, like, I don't want to go through this. This feeling sucks. I hate this. Like, God, I just want the next person that I go like out with. I just want that to be my husband. And little do you know it was.
And it's funny because I was doing the same prayer. I was going through the same exact experience where, you know, I just didn't want to deal with breakups anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, and I knew that I wanted a Christian girl.
Yeah.
Because my past relationships weren't Christian, and I had to keep dealing with, oh, why are you going to church?
And
like, what is the point with that?
And same with me. Like, you know, this person that I went out with before him was like that lifelong crush, whatever. And then it was the kind of thing where I'm like, I'm going to church. Like, you want to come? Like, it's youth service. And then they're like, yeah, no, that's whack. Or like,
yeah.
And it makes you
They don't understand.
And they don't understand, but it's like, that's the part where being equally yoked is so important. Yeah. Because I think that there are cases where people go out and one was Christian, one wasn't. And it ended up just, you know, with God's like grace and favor for your life, the person that ended up converting. But most of the time it doesn't happen like that. And, you know, even I have had like family members raised in the faith, you know, didn't necessarily make the right choice with their life partner. And, you know, there's always that struggle of like church and having like your principles in your life. Like, you know how awesome it is that at the end of the night, like if I'm really having a hard day, I could tell Xavier like, hey babe, can you pray for me? Cause I'm just not feeling right.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, like there is just no better feeling than that. So, okay. So, because he was saying off of experience and like off camera, I was like, hey babe, can I bring something up? I know this is like a little weird. And he's all like, I don't care. I'm married to you.
First of all, I don't sound like that. I said, I don't care. I'm married to you. No, I don't care. I'm married to you.
Whatever. It's me saying it. So, you know, when me and Xavier broke up, yeah, I did like date around and stuff. And I remember there was this one person that was like getting really serious about me. And it really wasn't like that for me, like at all. But I remember even in that portion, like, I remember having this conversation with this person, like, hey, you know, this would never work out, right? Because I'm Christian, and I was all like, and you don't believe in, like, you know, what it is to go to church and all of that. Like, I've tried inviting you, I've tried this, but it's just, we're on different pages.
And let alone understand what it is to go.
Exactly.
You know,
and this person's reply was all like, but I'm a good person. I don't need to go to church to be a good person. And I'm like, see, this is the part where me and you will never get on the same page, because I'm not talking about being a good person. I'm talking about having that relationship with God. But this is something that, like, this is something that I require in a future husband.
Right. And that's truly a misconception that,
yeah,
you know, just because you're a good person, you know, the Bible says you have to accept God. You have to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior.
Right.
You have to build this relationship with this person. If not, he's just going to turn away and say, I never knew you. Mm-hmm. You know, this goes for Christians as well. It's not easy enough to just attend to church. Yeah. You have to actually be active. You have to actually call yourself a Christian, because that is who you are. That is what you live and breathe.
Yeah, it's just your intimacy at the end of the day, like your actual relationship, right? Because we don't believe that we're going to go to heaven because of our works, mm-hmm. right? It's based off of our faith. So you could, you know, be the one who donates all the times, who does all this charity work and stuff like that. But if you, at the end of the day, don't accept Jesus into your heart, like, it all went for nothing.
Yeah.
You know? And so I remember having this conversation with this person, and I remember envisioning my life, right? Like, wow, what would it actually be if I was to end up with someone who didn't believe in God, and my Sundays versus what this person's Sundays look like, and my Friday nights, and I was just all like, wow, like I could never, you know? And it's just one of those hard things. Like, if you're in a relationship right now, or you're thinking of pursuing a relationship with someone who isn't of faith, and you are, like, let me tell you, it is not the path you want to go down, because
it's not something that's easy.
It's not easy. It's not easy. And it's not impossible, but why do you have to date this person and try to also bring them to Jesus? Why don't you wait for Jesus to do the work, right? For God to transform this person's life, And then if things align, then you guys go out. But it's like you jump the gun by deciding like, okay, I'm going to date this person.
I always say, you know, like anybody that asks that, right, or mentions that, well, why can't I invite them to church and why can't I date them and try to mold them into a Christian or a better person or whatever? But I always tell these people, you know, you have to stop trying to play God in their life and let God do their thing. If you want to plant the seed and invite them to church, that's fine. But that doesn't give you the license to be in a relationship with that person. You're only setting yourself up for failure or potential failure.
Yeah. And you know, for this reason, because, okay, so I was born and raised in church, right? But I didn't necessarily have that that true relationship with God. But I always held that standard in my life of like the person that I marry will be a man of God, right? Even if that means like I don't know exactly what I'm doing and I don't know the whole Bible in and out and I barely know things, that doesn't mean that like I know this is like my one non-negotiable, right? Like this is what I need in my life. And I remember because of that reason, and especially because of where we grew up, I remember telling myself like, I don't think I'm ever going to find a husband because how am I going to find a man who loves God, who respects women, who is good looking? Like, you know, I'm never going to find
You've heard it here, folks. I am good looking.
So it's like, you know, Xavier was just such a huge answered prayer. That's why, like, when I first saw you, like, even in middle school, I was all like, dang, he's cute or whatever. And then, you know, fast forward and, like, we ended up having this whole online conversation of, like, how he goes to church and stuff. And I was like, wait a second, what?
Yeah.
You know, and I was so shocked because I'm here like, listen, I don't know anybody that's Christian from where I'm growing up, or people just hide it. And if you're hiding it, that's not the kind of person that I want to be with. Yeah. You know? So.
Yeah. And I believe that everyone before getting in a relationship should know, you know, because you said know your standards, right? I think that everyone should know their standards, but also be strong enough to follow through with their standards.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, because you can't, for example, there's a lot of women that like the idea of having a man that's handy. Yeah. A man that knows his way around a car, a house, whatever. If that is you, don't look for a man that just because he checks off other boxes, he doesn't check off this box, that you think you're going to change them or make them into that person.
I mean, that one's not that hard, though.
No. I'm just saying, if you have a standard, follow through with that standard.
Yeah.
You know, don't, you know, and let's make it more on the spiritual sense. If you want a Christian person, follow through with that Christian person. If you haven't found that Christian person, then that's not the person for you. Yeah. Let it be an answered prayer. God, is this the one for me? No, this doesn't check off. Okay, move on.
And again, like what we were saying, just because someone says they're Christian doesn't mean they actually are. So you have to be very careful with that, because at the end of the day, how are you going to know if someone's Christian or not and truly walking with God? By their fruits.
Yes. 7:16, baby.
7:16. By their fruits, you will know them.
Yep.
You know, and their fruits have to, like, I was having this conversation with you, like, 2 days ago or yesterday? And I was saying you could tell so much, like someone's fruits so quickly by even just the way they talk. Mm-hmm. You know, like if someone's saying F this, F that. Like,
I mean, that's a given.
You know, that's a given. Yeah. But if the person that's talking, like, brings up more things of the spirit, like that tells you so much. For
me, what tells me a lot is what they listen to on a daily.
Yeah, that too.
Their music,
their music choice. Yes. Yeah.
And you know, like I'm not saying, like, for example, I listen to the Beatles. You know, I've listened.
Ooh, real secular here. No, I'm kidding.
I've listened to the Beatles.
Old man.
I've listened to Queen. I've listened to like the Rolling Stones. I listened to Guns N' Roses. Like I've listened to a lot of different music that would be considered secular, right? But that's not what I'm listening to on a daily.
So you don't you don't listen to some Bad Bunny? Like
no. Oh my Lord. No, please, God, no. That man.
All right, let's change topic. That
No, but listen, going back to
get that reaction from him.
Going back to the point, it's just, you know, for me that tells me a lot. It's like music is very influential.
Yeah.
You know, and music will tell me a lot about a person just by on their music selection. You could tell I'm a very traditional or old school type of person just by the music choice that I said.
The secular
and
choices.
I completely, Bad Bunny went over my head because I do not listen to that guy nor like that guy.
Yeah.
You know, like, but anyway,
but
you
we
know,
gonna
that's
pray
what
for
I mean.
him, you know,
yeah, we
para
pray
la
for him.
salvación.
But anyway, you know, he's going to be like Faruco, like, you know, convert.
Amen, amen. Oh my God, I forgot where we were going.
We were in the standards.
Oh yeah, so with standards, yeah, so just really make sure you look at the person's fruits, right? Not just, don't, you know, like, someone might just be a spiritual baby, and if you're okay with that, then just know that there's a long walk, you know, to get to a certain point. But yeah, different standards. I mean, everyone varies, right? Yeah. Like I've heard, especially like within Christians, I was looking at this one couple that I really like to hear their videos, and the husband was saying, like, one of my standards was, you know, I wanted a virgin. Mm-hmm. And he's all like, and I know in today's day and age, like, that's like basically unheard of, but he found his wife and she was a virgin. Yeah. You know, and those are just like standards where it's like, it's okay to have them. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I also think that, like, for me, for example, and this is going back to like that dating portion, manners was like a big thing. Like, I have a thing where it's like, you know, just open the door for the girl. You don't have to go around and open the door in the car and stuff like that. But like, I think opening the door is like a sweet thing. It's a sweet thing, you know, and I have my very sweet husband who still does that for me, you know, but I don't know. It's just like little simple things like that. Simple things like following through with your standards is just going to save you a whole lot of time within a relationship, because there's a lot of guys and girls who like to go into relationships thinking they can change someone. Yeah. You know, yes, it's possible, you know, because there's a lot of things that I am today that she helped me achieve, right? But, you know, there's a lot of men that are not going to be able to do that, or a lot of men that would feel offended by saying, oh, all you're ever trying to do is change me. Yeah. You know, you should have just gone into that relationship already knowing who this person was, you know, whether that person fit your standard or not. And it's not, although, yes, it might feel like it's difficult, but that's why patience plays a strong key in the search for your partner. Yeah. You know? Patience is a big one, because I get it sometimes. I think especially like for women, sometimes as we start getting older, you know, we have like this timer, right, for us, like our genetic timer of like, oh man, like I need to be having kids soon and stuff like that. So I can understand how it can be scary, but I think it's 100 times worse to be with someone and creating a child with someone that you weren't supposed to be with than to, you know, just wait on God's timing. Like, God has someone amazing for each and every one of you, you know, and it's not going to be beneficial for you to just be like, okay, well, you know, I'm just going to settle because this person likes me back. So like, why not? Yeah. Yeah. You know, but you know, that person, that amazing person doesn't just come, you know, yes, it'll come by faith, right? But who you want to attract has a lot to do with who you are as a person, right? Oh, yeah. So you are who you attract. Yeah, 100%. So if you want a Christian person, you want a person that's in the faith, that's a leader and stuff like that, but you're flimsy or lukewarm in the faith, do you really think you're going to attract a person who's wise enough to stay away from someone like you? Yeah, and same thing goes with like just other things, right? For example, if we talk about, you know, someone who's a hustler, someone who's like constantly working and having ambitions and stuff like that. If you're saying like, I just want to make sure that the man that I'm with is making like 6 figures, you know, like, well, are you doing the same thing, you know, yeah. Or are you just expecting someone else to just do all the work for you? And it's like, I don't know. I think when it comes to the standards that you set for someone else, just make sure that you can also provide and be those standards for someone else, you know, because I don't think it's fair. Well, you know, there's still a lot of women out there that, you know, and I say women because generally it is women that are out there and they do look for a man that can provide, right? They want to be a stay-at-home mom, but that means you want to be
Like, you want to work.
The one that cooks and cleans.
Yeah,
and all
you're
of that.
cooking, you're cleaning, you're attending to the children, you're attending to your husband. You know, that's a 24-hour job in itself.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to have a man
job
that provides for you and you do nothing but lay back, it's going to be difficult, because it's not about laying back. Everybody's got to pull their weight.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're bringing it monetary or whether you're bringing it through service.
Well, the thing is that if someone's, you know, this is just like a side note, but if someone who's also providing 24/7 and only them, most of the time they're not going to be around.
Yeah. Yeah. You know? I mean, that's difficult. You know, you can't, everything is in balance right now. And in this day and age, everything has to be in balance.
Yeah.
You know, we're living in a life where everything is fast paced. We need to move. Everything is a grind. Everything is a hustle. And you need to find time for family. And you need to find time for God. You know, it's difficult in itself. And to solely rely on one person, it just isn't fair.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot, you know.
There's a lot going into looking for a person. You need to understand. And that's why it's not just as simple as, I'm going to go on a date because I think this guy's cute.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't, because think about it. The person that you end up going out with on this date for just fun and games could end up being your future husband. Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
You know, if the person that you're trying to pursue, can you actually envision them as a wife, as a husband? Like I feel like that's more of like the mentality someone should have when they're pursuing someone. And I know you won't know everything about this person, right? Because that's the whole point of dating. But also, the whole point of dating isn't to just be like, I just want to be with this person. No, if you're dating this person, you're also in that mindset of like, hey, this is potentially my future wife and my future husband. But, you know, I've just seen so many cases of like people deciding to settle down because they got impatient with time, because they just didn't want to wait anymore, because time was ticking, and they ended up being with whoever they wanted. Sometimes they have kids, and then that just didn't work out, and now you're stuck as a single parent for some time. And you know, I think God has a way of working with everyone, but also, like, how much easier would it have been had you have just waited?
Yes.
You know, God had the right person for you, and God has the right person for you.
He still does. If you're in a situation where you feel like you're trapped because, you know, I know that there's single moms out there, you know, and maybe single fathers. I don't know. I'm not here to be sexist about it, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is that God still has a person for you if you're seeking for a partner. You may have gone through a bad experience. You may have gone through an abusive experience. You may have gone through whatever it is, right? That still doesn't change anything. When you rely and you put your faith in God, you know, like Matthew 6, verse 31 and 33 says, "So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat? What shall we drink? What shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. Yeah. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well."
I had that Bible verse too.
You know, and it's like, come on, these signs, these scriptures are clear.
Yeah.
Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about what you don't have. God knows what you need, and he will provide for you.
Yeah. You being anxious, you being impatient, it doesn't make anything better. It doesn't help you out. I think a lot of the story of Sarah and Abraham with this, you know, God had promised Sarah and Abraham a child, and time was going by. They're like, yo, we're getting older, and I'm not getting pregnant. And, you know, Sarah got so impatient.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Sarah got so impatient that she gives her servant, what's her name, Hagar, to Abraham, and she's all like, well, since I can't give you kids, like, you know, just have a child with our servant, you know, and all because of this whole promise that God had for them to give them a kid, but you're impatient.
She was promised it.
And she was promised it.
But she got impatient and did it anyway.
Or
found a way to do it.
And then had the audacity to be bitter against Hagar. And, you know, it's not like, but you're the one that suggested it. I'm just the one that's here following, you know?
Yeah.
And then God ended up blessing them anyways.
Yeah.
So it's like, had you have just waited a little bit, you wouldn't have been caught up in the situation of like bitterness and anger, you know?
It's going to come down to faith.
It's going to come. And it's going to come. Like,
yeah.
That perfect person And not 100% perfect, because we all have our flaws. But the perfect person for you will come.
Yeah.
You know, because I think about us and I'm just all like, wow, like you came in a moment in my life when I needed it, you know, and what I lack in, he has, and vice versa. So it's amazing how like God just really thinks about the little details with your other person. And, you know, trust in God first. And it's not just, though, I want to clarify this, because sometimes people think like
they can just sit back and wait for somebody to magically appear.
All right, where's my person? You know, and that's the part where it's all like, hey, you know, you also do have to do some kind of work with it.
But we're not talking about automatically giving yourself up to this person and saying I'm exclusive to you. No, talk to people, you know, network with people, find out how people are. It's okay to become friends with somebody. Now, don't get friend zoned.
This is like Xavier's like favorite topic. I feel like we can go off on a tangent with this.
I don't, because the thing is, I know a lot of guy friends that have put themselves in a position to be friend zoned.
Yeah.
You know, and it's because a lot of my friends, a lot of people I know, they're good guys.
Yeah.
You know, but good guys tend to get friend zoned because they're too good, in the sense that they try to become besties.
Yeah.
You get me? That's not going to work. You know, if you show no attraction to that person and you're just want to be the best friend,
like, I love you as a brother.
Yeah, Lord, please.
That's like a killer for
you know, guy. Just it has to be kind of obvious that you are attracted to this person.
Yeah.
But again, you know, it's okay to become friends.
I think it's good to become friends.
Just, you know, if you're talking to somebody, not dating, not being exclusive, don't go around talking to a bunch of other people either, because I don't think she's gonna like that. You know, if she finds out, you know, that's not right either. That's kind of shady of you.
Yeah.
You know, but if it's not gonna work out, or if you think this person's not it, vice versa, girls and guys, you know, just move on.
Yeah.
You know, don't get yourself emotionally attached, put into a stuck position, and feeling like you want to get out.
You know, I've heard so many stories of like beautiful relationships, like lifelong relationships that have come from friendships. But it is truly like heartbreaking to hear when a guy or a girl has been friend zoned because, you know, they didn't set that certain boundary. And I think that's what it is, right? You got to set a boundary in everything, you know, because at the end of the day, one person ends up getting hurt when you don't set a boundary, you know? So I don't know. I'm thinking like, if someone's in a friend zone with someone, like, and now you're on to the next person and you think you're going to fall in that same category again. When it comes to being a friend, you can be there, you can talk to them, but to be the one that like texts for every little thing and stuff like that, I think those are boundaries that you need to set for yourself.
And for guys, you know, you're going to find yourself giving this girl relationship advice instead of being in the relationship with this girl.
Yeah, next thing you know, he or she is gonna end up being with someone that's like, thanks for the advice, sis. Like,
yeah. You know, you don't want to be in that, and like you said, someone's bound to get hurt.
Yeah.
So if you're becoming friends with this person to date them, make it clear.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid, because if they say no, you know,
at least now you know, and you're not wasting your time.
You're not wasting your time.
Yeah,
you
at
know,
least now you're like, okay, well, now I'm 100% sure that this person is not my future husband or my future wife.
Yes.
Like, it's better to just know.
Yes. What is that saying in Spanish? Mejor es something mal acompañado.
Oh, mejor es estar sola que mal acompañada.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, it's just better to live that way.
Yeah, and I just, I don't know. I feel bad because I think I friend zoned some people in my lifetime, but it's just because
girls tend to do it more often than guys.
But here's the thing. Okay, so the way you guys see me talking right now, I talk to everyone like that, and people have misconstrued my kindness.
Yes, but you do the whole shoulder. Well, I don't know why I kept saying soldier. Yes, you're like, stop it. You know, you get very flirty with your hands.
But like, I don't mean to. Like, I will do this to a girl. Like, I'll be like, girl, stop. Like, you know.
Well, guys read that as in a mixed message.
They're like, one in Mississippi, two Mississippi.
Oh, my Lord. Okay. She just did a reference.
Yeah.
But, you know, the big thing is we can't be impatient, right?
Yeah.
But another thing is, make sure that when you're attracted to somebody, you're not lusting over them. Make sure that it's a positive attraction.
Yes.
Make sure that your attraction is, you know, sure, this person can look good.
Well,
but
I think
make
you
sure
need
that
to
that's
have,
not the only thing.
Yeah, because you definitely need to have some kind of like physical attraction to this person.
Right. But we have men and women in the church that are just like, damn, papi, or guys that are breaking their neck.
Yeah.
And that's not right. That's not right. Whether you're in church, not church, when you fall into a lustful attraction, once that lust is gone, that's what's going to be left.
Yeah.
Because you didn't fall in love with that person for, who they were. You weren't attracted to that to begin with.
You might actually end up finding things that you really didn't like about this person. And you're like, what did I see in this person?
So fellas, you started off thinking, the booty was big. And now the problem is as big as the booty.
You're so stupid.
So just avoid it.
Oh my God. This is Xavier, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen.
Oh my God.
There's only so much that we can do and say in this podcast, right?
Yes. I'm here like
in all seriousness, guys, girls, if you're trying to date, be serious about it.
Yeah.
Time is precious. And yes, everything is an experience, but when you're in a relationship or when you're looking for a relationship, you can waste a lot of time.
Yeah.
And you can get a lot of regret.
Yes. And time
and you'll
is
learn
the
a
one
lot
thing.
of bad lessons or
Yeah.
a lot of right. Every lesson is a good lesson, right? But some lessons can be avoided.
Yeah. Some lessons, look at other people's mirrors. That's what my mom
Yes.
would say, right? Use other people's life as mirrors in your life and don't commit the same mistakes. There is so many like instead of like going like, here was my person, you went all of this just to end up right here. You really don't need to. One more thing I wanted to just add on real quickly, because I know we have to head out. We actually have church right after this. But
that was actually my alarm that went off.
Yeah. You're probably like, we got to go.
Anyway, speaking of going.
But so one thing I just quickly wanted to add is make sure you're authentic to yourself, about yourself. If you like something, don't feel the need to hide it because you're trying to make sure this person likes you. Or don't, girls specifically.
Just be true to yourself.
Don't say you like something because the person that you're crushing on likes something. Be true to yourself.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Because I have seen that time and time again. And I feel like, I feel like I did that early on, like in middle school type of thing. And I'm here like, no.
The best example of that would be a yes man.
Yeah,
doing everything. Oh, you like that? Yeah, I like that too.
I like that too. Oh, yeah, that's so dope. Like, no, you don't like that.
Yeah.
You don't.
Don't play yourself.
So just be authentic to yourself because at the end of the day, the more true you are to yourself, you're going to attract the person who really likes all of you, not just parts of you.
Yeah.
But that's basically it.
Yeah. But, and just as we're, closing this off, I just, again, guys, girls, be true to yourself and do it in the faith.
Yeah.
Keep it within your faith because you're going to save yourself a lot of headaches. And although this person might be cute, the problems that's going to come along with it ain't. Yeah. It's not going to be cute.
And also physical attraction fades, guys.
Yes, it does. And what's going to be left with is love. But if love was never built, then nothing's going to be left.
Then you in a pickle, girl. Like, Yeah.
But I really do wish the best for every one of you. I know that we're in a season of coupling, and I know that as we go further along into Thanksgiving and everybody's talking about what they're thankful for.
¿Dónde está la novia season?
And la tía is asking el novio, and you have to do all these clapbacks. Like, come on. I understand that impatience is going to start kicking in, but just do it in the faith.
Yeah.
You're doing yourself a favor.
Yeah.
Fall in love with God, if anything.
Yeah.
So I wish that there was more, but it's as simple as that.
No, it really is because it's just going to be a headache. I'm telling you, I have seen it time and time again. The people have just made wrong choices with wrong people. It did not go well, So just be patient. God has someone out there for each and every one of you that is fitted. All those little quirks that you think someone might not like, there's someone out there that loves them.
Yeah.
I thought that of me. I'm here like, I'm a very like quirky person with certain things, and he loves me completely,
Yeah. One more thing.
Okay.
If you're in a relationship that's kind of, identifying with what we're saying, where you started off with a more lustful attraction and things are fading away, just know that you're not married, you know, and I don't mean to make it sound so cold, but if you're in a relationship that you feel that is not edifying you, break it off and try to find the courage to do so, because you're going to do yourself a service in doing that.
Yeah.
You know, you are losing out on a potential perfect match just because you're stuck in a relationship or you're too pacifist to get out of that relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and the longer it is that you stay with this person, the harder it's going to be.
Yeah.
You know, so
guys,
we pray for you. Yeah. You know, we pray for the ones that in relationships. If you're in a relationship and you're trying to change that person, I pray for you. You know, hopefully it does work out. But again, you know, just be in faith, stay in prayer.
Yeah.
That's the best advice that we can give you guys.
Be patient.
Yeah.
All right, guys. But that is basically it for today's episode. I can't wait for like this little mini series we've got going on, because
the next one that we're going to do,
got a lot of juicy topics.
The next one that we're going to do is more in depth of dating and preparation.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't want to go too far into that.
Yeah.
So, guys, you know, this is it. Like I said, we're praying for you. If you like this channel, you know, if you like this podcast and you feel like you want to continue, we have a whole library filled with videos.
And subscribe to our channel.
Go ahead and subscribe to us. We are constantly putting up videos every Monday at 12 p.m. Give us some feedback. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know how we're talking. You know, ask us questions if you want to. Put something in that comment. Hit that like button.
Let us know.
You know, and just so you guys know, every time you put a comment or you hit the like button, it helps YouTube know that we're doing as good as content creators, and it helps us reach other people. So you'd be doing other people a service by doing so.
Yeah.
So, guys,
thank you so much, and we will see you guys on our next episode.
Yes. All right, guys. Bye.